I was on antidepressants for 2 weeks, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you what I experienced. I believe that there's two types of people in this world. The first type of person is a person who is rather intuitive, rather empathetic, and who has the ability to pick up on emotions around them. These are your people who are more sensitive, and they find it difficult to just kind of shrug things off and to just move on with life. The second type of person is a type of person who is not very intuitive. It's a person who's not very empathetic, who's not very aware of their emotions and other people's emotions, and they kind of live their life in a state where they're not awakened to and they're not aware of what is actually going on around them. What antidepressants do is it tries to make you the second type of person. It tries to make you a person who is not in touch with their intuition, a person who's not in touch with their inner voice, and who basically feels no empathy and no emotion when they're living their life. Over the last few years, I'm trying to record a video here. So over the last few years, I have gone through much more than what I usually do. I have been experiencing some drama with my family, and I've just been going through some personal problems. It has been becoming increasingly difficult for me to manage my emotions while still remaining aware and tuned into the emotions of other people. Because I am a person who lives my life very connected to my higher self and my inner voice, I'm always listening to this inner voice. I let my inner voice guide me throughout my life, and although sometimes my emotions may become a bit overwhelming, at least my inner voice is guiding me in the right direction. What happens is we all have this higher self and we all have this inner voice. Our emotions that we experience is our inner voice guiding us in the direction we need to be in order for us to operate and function at our highest capacity in this world. When we ignore this inner voice, when we ignore our higher self, and when we ignore what we are telling ourselves inside ourselves through our emotions, we actually do not follow the path that was destined for us. We then end up going down a completely wrong path, and we end up living our lives very unhappily and in a state of disconnection to everything around us. It is important as human beings that we are connected to our emotions, because our emotions are our inner voice. Our emotions are what guide us to where we need to be. Now the thing is, the more intuitive you are, the louder this inner voice screams at you. If you are a person who is more aware and who is more in tune to the world around you, this inner voice inside you will likely be louder. What ends up happening with people that are highly sensitive and highly intuitive is this inner voice that they experience ends up becoming overwhelming. It ends up becoming very, very tricky to manage and to deal with. Because most people do not have people in their lives that are aware enough to actually help them deal with this inner voice that they have and these intense emotions that they feel, these people end up feeling like they're crazy for feeling things so deeply. At the end of the day, I don't believe that I'm crazy for feeling emotions so deeply. But unfortunately, we are in a day and age where human emotions are being suppressed. Human emotion is seen as an inconvenience. Society has evolved to such a point where human beings need to be productive and they need to be hardworking. When they become emotional, it stops them from being as productive and as hardworking as they can possibly be. And this is actually seen as an inconvenience in the eyes of society. And this is the exact reason why people want to numb out the emotions of other people. So basically, we all have this inner voice, and we all have this inner voice shouting at us all the time. When we're living our lives and we feel unhappy or unsatisfied with something, when something doesn't feel right to us, this inner voice will scream at us. But the thing is, our bosses, our friends, our family, society tells us that we are wrong for feeling this specific way that we feel. So what do? We ignore our inner voice because everybody else tells us that we are crazy for feeling the specific thing. But actually, the reason we're feeling this specific thing is because it's guiding us towards a direction that will make us more happier. It's guiding us to make decisions that will lead us to our ultimate happiness. But when we actually ignoring this guidance inside ourselves, we end up staying and we end up not actually becoming our fullest potential. When I would tell people, this is what I need, this is what I want, this is what my inner voice is telling me, they would tell me that I'm wrong, I'm ungrateful, I need to accept things for what they are. This is what life is like. Basically, each time that I would try and follow what my inner voice would tell me to do, it would just be shut down by everybody else. Everybody else would just tell me that what my inner voice is telling me is ultimately wrong. I ended up feeling like I was literally the crazy one. So I did what everybody told me to do. I went to see a doctor and I told the doctor what I was going through. This doctor didn't do any physical examination on me. I actually spent 5 minutes in the doctor's office and they had prescribed me antidepressants straight up. The doctor didn't ask me any questions. Like I said, they didn't actually examine me, but they had concluded that I have depression. The way they had concluded I had depression was literally just through talking to me. There was no actual physical evidence that I had depression. So what I've gathered is you can literally walk into a doctor's office and just say, I'm feeling a little bit down and depressed. I think I might need some help, and they will literally just prescribe you an antidepressant like this. There's no physical examination, there's no questioning that happens, it just gets given to you, which basically shows me that it's very, very accessible for any person to get antidepressants. So I was like, okay, cool, maybe everyone is right, maybe I am too sensitive, maybe my emotions are too much, and maybe what I am feeling is not normal, and I do need to medicate myself. So I started taking these antidepressants. The first 2 days was pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, because for the first 2 days, it was the first time I did not feel emotions of anxiety for a very, very long time. But for the first 2 days of taking these antidepressants, I basically felt nothing. I didn't feel any anxiety, but I also didn't really feel any other emotions either. For the first 2 days, this was really nice, because for so long, I had experienced anxiety, and to just not actually feel anxiety for a bit, it was amazing. But then what happened after the third day is I literally felt nothing. That inner voice, that inner guidance that usually tells me, Danielle, this is not right. Danielle, do this. Danielle, go this direction and this will be right for you. That inner intuition that always guides me throughout my life and that has always guided me my entire life was literally gone. I had no connection with that inner voice whatsoever. It was like it had just gone silent. So for the next few days while I was on these antidepressants, I literally felt almost no emotion. I couldn't feel positive, happy, joyful emotions, but I also couldn't feel depressed, sad, angry emotions. I was literally living in zombie mode. After about a week of being on these antidepressants, I actually realized that I was losing touch with my true self. So I live in South Africa and we have a very, very big problem here with poverty and homelessness. When you leave your house just to do a quick little shopping trip, you are likely going to encounter at least 10 beggars. If you have a busy day where you're kind of driving around the city, you can easily encounter like 20, 30, 40 beggars in one day. Because there is such a big problem with unemployment and homelessness and poverty in our country, beggars are everywhere. Homeless people are everywhere. Now, I have a thing called beggar anxiety. Because I am such an empathetic person, whenever I am around a beggar or a homeless person, I can honestly feel their suffering. I can feel the pain that they're going through. And this actually makes me feel horrible. Whenever I'm around a homeless person or beggar, it actually gets me really, really down, and this is something I've really been working on. But one way that I figured out that I wasn't myself and that these antidepressants were really changing me and these antidepressants were really messing with my ability to feel empathy for other human beings was when I went out the one day and these beggars came up to me and I just felt no empathy for them whatsoever. At that point, I had realized that these antidepressants had literally removed my ability to feel all empathy that I always feel. The next few days, while I was on these antidepressants, I felt zero empathy for anyone in my life. All I could basically feel was this numbness. I couldn't feel joy and excitement, and I also couldn't feel anything bad. You see, the thing that these antidepressants and these mood stabilizer medication is meant to do is it's meant to keep you on one stable mood. You don't get highs and you also don't get lows. You're kind of just on one level all the time. But if you are an intuitive person and if you are an empath, this is a very big problem. A person who is highly intuitive and empathetic relies on their inner voice, their intuition, and their empathy to get through life. This is how they operate in their existence. When a person who's highly intuitive and empathetic shuts down this inner voice, they literally lose their ability to connect with other human beings, to connect with themselves and the world around them, and to actually experience empathy. Now, I understand that for many people, antidepressants and mood stabilizers and these medications can be very helpful and it can work. But from my experience as an empath and as a person who is quite intuitive and quite in tune with the world around me, it literally destroyed my ability to be connected with everything around me. I would rather be my usual self, where I'm able to experience extreme highs and extreme lows, than be antidepressant me who feels absolutely nothing. The reason I made this video is just to share my experience with you guys and to just tell you guys what I experienced. After taking these antidepressants for 2 weeks, I stopped. I realized that these antidepressants aren't going to do anything good for me. They're literally just going to keep me in one state of being my entire life, and I'm not actually going to be able to grow and to tap into my inner guidance to lead me toward where I'm supposed to be. I'll literally just stay stuck in one state and one space. I actually do not think that it is a good thing that people are numbing out their ability to feel. I don't think it's a good thing that people are numbing out their ability to listen to their inner guidance and their inner voice. This is why so many people aren't actually able to tap into their fullest potential. This is why they're not actually able to be the best version of themselves they can actually be. Antidepressants and mood stabilizers might take your negative and extreme moods away, but they also take your positive moods away. The worst part for me is that if you're a female, it literally dries you up like the Sahara Desert. The reason why so many people are being prescribed antidepressants and the reason why it is such a common thing in our society now, because it is more convenient for people when other people are numbed out, when other people aren't actually aware, and when other people aren't actually connected to their emotions. When other people are aware and connected to themselves, it causes problems for the people who want other people to kind of operate in this zombie mode, to operate in this productive mode where they're basically just working hard. What I can see from my experience of taking antidepressants is that society is trying to, in a sense, numb out the human emotion so that human beings can be more productive, so that they can actually operate in this newly evolved way that society operates. But the problem is, we are human beings. We have emotion and we have a connection to our inner self. The reason why we're experiencing these unpleasant emotions is because something is wrong, because our inner voice is telling us something is not right. And when we are numbing out this emotion, we stop ourselves from actually being able to see what is actually wrong, and we accept the circumstances for what it is, even though we're not even meant to be in these current circumstances. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more astrology and spirituality videos. And let me know in the comments what you thought of this video. Are you on antidepressants and have you experienced this? Or let me know what is your experience on antidepressants. Check out the link to my Patreon below if you'd like to support this channel, and check out the link to my website if you would like to book a reading. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.